So with all this talk about a confusing messaging that Xbox is delivering, which I think is just an outright, I just think it's an outright misnomer and a miscategorization of Xbox's strategy. And shout out to Paul Tassi for pretty much, putting, his article out there because everybody else wrote about it, but his has basically been the one that's, sucked up all the attention. So I told y'all that this was probably the play because it's really funny. We can go back and look at what I think a, confusing messaging, structure looks like. Remember back in May, PlayStation CEOs, both of them, talk live service, PC games, and more in first appearance as new bosses. So newly appointed CEOs were talking about what their business would do, how they're going to approach live service games, how they were going to go ahead and approach, their move to PC, and so on and so forth. Now, in this article, they were talking about expansion. And there was something very interesting about the way they talked about it. They said PlayStation is prioritizing a mix of tentpole single-player games alongside live service games going forward, but will pull from the success of Helldivers 2 and launch all upcoming live service games on PC and PS5 simultaneously. He said this: "We're bringing our titles to PC platform, and we have a dual approach here on the live service side," Hull said. "We're releasing our titles simultaneously, so day and date on PlayStation 5 and PC. But with our tentpole titles, our single-player narrative-driven titles that are, as you saw on the presentation, the backbone of what PlayStation studios have delivered in recent years and our history, we take a more strategic approach." Okay, so basically, he never said that they weren't coming day and date. He just made it really vague. Now, we can say he said it's not coming day and date. We can just fight on that point later on. No problem. I'll give it to you. They're talking about we introduced great franchises and we're finding new audiences that are potentially going to be very interested in playing, for example, sequels on the PlayStation platform. We have high hopes that we're able to bring new players into PlayStation at large and into PlayStation platform specifically. Actually, the same goes for the work that we do with extending our grid priorities onto other media such as television, series, and films. This is a very hard thing for them to do. PC players are not responding because even these news agencies started to write and say, Herman Holst and Mr. Nishino are awaiting PC players who waited for, all these years for Kingdom Hearts, only to then wait more for it to come to Epic Games to then go to PlayStation. Nah, they're not going to do it. At the same time, you can tell that PlayStation was already somewhere, somehow, training its audience to get used to this fact that they're going to be bringing pretty much all their games to PC. They already are launching them live service day and date. But to talk about being strategic to me, I think was very vague that they have in mind to launch their games day and date when it suits them. And very soon, as time starts to move on, and as they basically have conditioned PlayStation players to be used to the PC platform, they're going to go ahead and start launching day and date, even single player games that did not make it into the list of games that he mentioned. Without announcing, they have not announced one single player game launching on the PlayStation platform, but 3 day and date. Lego Horizon Adventures is one of them. I talked about this game extensively, to which people said, haha, dude, it's just a Lego game, man. It's licensed with Lego. I talked about Until Dawn remake. They said, oh, it's a remake. What does it matter? But now this is a brand new game called Lost Soul Aside, and that game is coming in the mix. And what excuse are you going to give me? Are you going to tell me now that this is somehow not a PlayStation game because it was developed by another party, a second party? Well, Hellblade 2 was one that, Stellar Blade 2, sorry, I said Hellblade 2. Stellar Blade was a game that PlayStation was able to cop and kept exclusive to their console. It sold basically about 1 million plus copies after analysts look at everything. So what's the big issue here? What's going on? Because Lost Soul Aside actually is one that was heavily sponsored by PlayStation. I mean, this is not even like, say, a similar issue to, say, Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade, I don't know if they put money in, but I remember they had announced the game for all platforms. But this game, PlayStation basically, brought this game from ground up, in my opinion, with their help and with their development. 9 years almost of development in terms of this game. So if you think that something is confusing, I strongly believe that this is exactly it. I strongly believe so. That the PlayStation, talk about exclusivity and how they move their games to PC has been muddied with the introduction of Lego Horizon Adventures and the introduction of Until Dawn Remake. Why do I say that? I say that because The Last of Us Part 1, it did not show up on PC day one. The Last of Us Part 2 remaster did not show up on PC day one. However, Horizon Zero Dawn's remaster, yes, and Until Dawn Remake, both of them broke that mold. Because there's an established pattern with PlayStation that's been subverted without them being clear to anyone. So I think little by little, they're going to go ahead and erode this standard that they've gone ahead to set, as long as they can leverage sales from it. That's it. It's a case-by-case basis that he basically said, in my opinion, a very similar approach to what Xbox is doing. So once again, when the press goes out to categorize what Xbox is doing as confusing, I ask them and say, do you not look at what PlayStation is doing? You see, at the end of the day, some people may think I'm just beating on PlayStation. No. All I'm saying is we need to ensure that we're looking at the gaming industry from a business perspective and understand why both companies are taking this approach. It's not because they want to destroy their brand, because some of you have categorized Xbox as destroying their brand. It's okay. PlayStation fans also did the same thing when Horizon was coming to the PC. And this was 3 years after. They said it diminished the value of the brand. Some of them said they weren't going to buy a PlayStation afterwards. So we done been there, done that. We've established that your game going to another platform should be the standard of diminishing the brand, I guess. And when we look at why, the data-driven approach is going to tell us exactly why these companies are looking for more audiences, because their already existing audiences are not so interested in playing a lot of these single-player games. If they stay exclusive, there's a likelihood that they'll die. No one's going to buy them, or a very small amount of people are going to buy them. And with marketing costs and development costs being so high, it makes no sense. So I think, number one, PlayStation is justified in bringing their games to other platforms. And I think, number two, Xbox is also justified in taking its games to other platforms as well. If y'all would back off Call of Duty and Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto, that's all y'all. Even us PC folk, if we would back off CS2 and Call of Duty, Counter-Strike all day, every day, and Deadlock, which it doesn't seem like these folk are all interested in that. They're more interested in these games. Maybe these single-player games will thrive and can stay exclusive. But in today's market, that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. And anyone who is not paying very close attention and thinking, oh, that this has to be the case, then I strongly feel very bad for them, because, again, they are behind. They are behind all what is going on in this time and day. So I'm very, very interested to see how this news starts to pivot, because, again, remember, the whole shtick was that, oh, your games have to be exclusive because exclusivity sells consoles, because all this stuff. But all that is now eroded, having gone back to dig and see that exclusivity did not even affect PlayStation fans back then. It affected some. They made their decisions back then. And Xbox fans right now that are saying it's affecting them, I strongly say to you, why did you not leave Xbox? If you're thinking of leaving Xbox, why didn't you leave Xbox when their games went to PC? That's when you should have been gone. You should not have waited out here this long, because now, it doesn't really make too much of a difference, because your games going to all other platforms shouldn't affect how much you enjoy games. I'm not the one that was even saying this. Xbox fans, y'all were saying this to PlayStation fans back then. Yes. When I looked through this thread, I was very surprised to see some, Xbox influencers at the time telling PlayStation, saying about the game, oh, it's a good thing that other people get to actually play the game. I was so surprised. I was shocked. I was like, what? There are some Xbox players here that are actually championing that this game go to, PC, even though PlayStation players were saying that it devalued the brand. Yeah, that to me is all very interesting at the end of the day, how this has now been basically dug up and it's exposed something of a very weird and awkward situation. Very weird and awkward situation. Yeah, look at this. Mr. Boomstick XL. This is an Xbox, aficionado. They said, I have championed Horizon Zero Dawn and have it listed as one of my top 5 of this generation. Having others experience this epic tale of growth, discovery, and triumph is awesome. Seeing people have temper tantrums over it is truly very sad. I'm not making someone said to me, why did I use the example with the crap gamer, this example here, as a representation of, Xbox fans? I don't know. I don't know who this person is, but I know that I've seen Mr. Boomstick before, and he seemed like he championed that this game be put in the hands of more people. While when you look down just underneath, someone said only on PlayStation in quotes, so that was an effing lie. Look at this. Look at this. So at the end of the day, man, I got to tell you, if Xbox is taking its games to other platforms and other consoles, like I said, I don't see grounds for many Xbox players to be complaining right now, because there is data, there is available evidence that this is needed for their brands and their studios to thrive. Simple as that. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys so much. Talk to me in the comment section. Peace out.